Because when I was getting ready for the game, I'm playing on top board this time. As I already said, you can easily shuffle the players here and there. So I'm playing top board. Jon Ludwig is playing board number 3. I think board number 2 was Erik Blomqvist. So we always mix, so that our opponents cannot guess. And I was expecting that I will be playing against Jacek Gdański. So he's an experienced grandmaster from Poland. He's been playing for Eksha team for many, many years. So we have already played in Sweden a couple of times. So he had not yet played in this weekend for the top board. And I was so confident I'm playing against Gdański. So he's about 2500, very solid guy. And I very quickly checked. What's gonna happen in the game. So 15 minutes before the round starts, the pairings come out, and I'm playing against Franco Luquez, their board number 3, who is put on the board number 1 for some reason, and I'm so surprised. And after the game, when I had a discussion with my opponent, as I understand, they were trying to put Gdański against me, but they expected that I will be playing board number 3 for whatever reason. So instead I was playing board number 1. They put Gdański board number 3 against Jon Ludwig Hammer. And Jon Ludwig Hammer won a very nice game, by the way, with the black color. So I think our the way we positioned the players worked out perfectly. So let's watch the game. I checked like for 5 minutes because I had no time to prep for this game. So the pairings come out 15 minutes before the start of the game. 5 minutes before the start of the round, I had to leave. I had to take my luggage with me because we had to check out from the hotel. I have to take my bags with me, everything with me. So 5 minutes, I checked. He plays the Reti, and I noticed one thing. He basically does this against anybody. Oh, sorry, not f3, of course. So knight f3, g3, bishop g2, should castle d3, c4. This is what he does, always. And I thought I'm going to do like this. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. He doesn't play the kings in an attack. He plays c4. And I thought I'm going to get a game here. So I was feeling pretty optimistic, like here and here and here. Oh, sorry, I think something like d4, and knight c6 and e5, and I was feeling good. He plays g3. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, all due respect to g3, but why won't you start with knight f3? Why do you play g3? So I'm thinking, okay, fine, you got it. I'm playing e5, because if you play now c4, which basically transposes c4, e5, g3, I play this line, and he doesn't play this. So I know this quite a bit. So you can't trick me. So I'm starting with g3. I'm starting with e5. And the thing is, if I'm starting with d5, he might change his mind. I play knight f3. So again, we transpose to the same position. So I play e5. I play d5. That's it. My dream position. He played d3. I suppose he has to, otherwise knight f3 runs into e4. c4 is typically d4. Actually, there was a line. I can play this line a couple of times. Like this, this, and this. And there's this very annoying check in some lines, bishop b4 check. And a5. Because in some positions, white has difficulties to play e3. And then after bishop g5, bishop e7, something like knight e2, h6, white is just worse. Just worse. He has no breaks with the pawns. They make no sense. I have two bishops, I have the center. That's it. So he's just worse. So I know this idea with bishop b4 check. Yeah, so he plays here. And I'm thinking, wait, I have like million ways here to play out this position. So I could play knight f6, bishop c5. I could play knight c6, f6, bishop e6, queen d7. So for example, looking at this, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this and this and this. So it's essentially the tiger variation with colors reversed. So I know this position from the white's perspective with colors reversed. So I figured it out, it should work for black as well. But there. Let me just play knight f6. He goes here. And now I go here. By the way, this is a very important move. Because if I go here, he might play c4. And the trick is, now d4 gaining space, I don't think it really works because white has this very annoying idea of b4. The point is knight b4, he takes on e5. So I take with the bishop. He takes on e5. He gives a check on a4. He takes with the bishop. And he takes on b4. So this is a pretty common trick and black is in trouble. I cannot do it. So that's why I can't play b4. And okay, I mean I can play something else. I could play like d takes and maybe he can play queen a4 for some craziness, or like d takes, probably just equal. Or maybe I can play a castles and c takes and knight e5 and knight c3, bishop e6, like one of the main lines of the English opening. It's probably just fine because I didn't play knight b6, which is one of the main moves if I play early bishop e6. So also bishop c5 is inaccuracy because he gets to play knight e5 and d4. So I need to be a bit careful. So I decided to play bishop d6. And now the thing is, if he plays c4, I play d4, and now this does not work. Because I can take with the knight, and this idea now does not work because, I mean, he's simply down a piece. I think I got this once in an online blitz game that my opponent automatically plays b4, knight b4, but it works with the bishop on e7, not with the bishop on d6. So he went e3. I play castles, he takes it. And here I'm interested to keep. Knight b4 and c5 is a bit too much, yes. Here I'm interested to keep the knights on the board because the way I understand it, white wants to get something like this. White wants to open up his bishop, trade the bishop for the knight, trade the last couple of bishops, and essentially play the good knight against the bad bishop. That's what he wants. So that's why here in this position, it's in my best interest to keep the knights on the board because it keeps the bishop locked and he simply doesn't have a lot of great squares to go. So one of the main things to properly play out this position is to understand that the rule of the space advantage applies in this position. So he is not having space. I mean, I want to play h6, bishop 5, a5, maybe knight e7, knight c5, hit the pawn on d3, so that's a weakness. So he plays bishop g5, which kind of makes sense because in the modern Benoni position, which this feels like modern Benoni, if I would put the pawn on e5 with colors reversed, we are having the modern Benoni. In modern Benoni, one of the key ideas for the players who are choosing the setup is to trade the bishop so that he has the better control of those light squares. But there's a catch. I mean, this is not the modern Benoni. I don't have the pawn on e5. So I play h6. He takes it, and he plays knight e2. And he did this like super quickly. You know, he played it like under 2 minutes or 3 minutes. He did those moves super quickly, which I think just again proved that he was really familiar with this setup. And I thought if I don't want anything from this game, I can of course just play bishop f5. I can do it. So I play bishop f5, hit the pawn, he goes here. I take it and I'm just doing okay. Yeah, like rook d8. But I thought I will never win this. Yeah, because he's going to play knight e1, knight e3, f4, e5. Actually, I should be a bit careful. Like maybe give up the pawn to open up the queen. Knight e3 and, I don't know, queen d4, knight e5. But it just, best case scenario is going to be a draw. So clearly, I'm the ELO favorite in this game, even though I'm playing with black color. I want to win. So he wants to play knight e4 to kill my bishop advantage. So I play queen d8. Engine marks this as a small inaccuracy. I'm not sure. So Engine likes this move a bit better. Bishop e7, knight e4, now some weird move with the queen, like queen f5. I don't like this. I don't understand this. Why? So I think the queen on d8 stands pretty well because it protects the pawn. So I thought he could play maybe knight b3, hit the pawn. And at least I have bishop e7. But again, I need to watch out for the knight straight on e5 to open up the bishop. So rook e1. I'm going to play bishop f6, avoid a trade. And then we have some maneuvering game like knight e2, a3, knight e4, etc. Maybe I should allow the knight trade on e5. I'm not really sure. Like a5, knight e5, takes, and c6, and a4, and bishop f6, and bishop f5. I think I'm just a lot better. So, and now he played this. I played a5. And he played this, which I thought was a really weird move. Because he clearly wants to play some f4, knight e4, g4, g5 idea. Also bring the knight on c2, maybe toy with ideas of b4. But I just don't buy this. You know, how retreating with the knight on e1 to open up some f4 ideas, how it can be a great idea. So I'm thinking I can always play knight e5. So you play f4, I put the knight on g4. And maybe you're going to play h3 and I'm going to do something. I don't know, bishop 5. And you're going to play knight e4. I'm going to play rook e8. You're going to play 4. I'm going to play knight c4. Hello. Yeah, hello. So d takes bishop e4. I'm just doing great. So I'm just not buying this entire idea that you can retreat in the knight to start some Kingston attack. But I decided I'm going to play rook e8 first. Just to take over the file. I mean, you're not taking the file, I'm taking it. And if he now plays f4 to stop my knight e5, I play knight e7. If he plays g4 to stop knight f5, I play knight g6. Yeah, so I'm just coming in. I'm coming in. There's so many weaknesses here. I could play even f5 at some point. So what is this white's position? Just makes no sense. He played here. Yeah, this is exactly some reversed Benoni. Yeah, exactly. So I play knight e5. I'm like, listen, I'm just better here. You know, after the opening, I'm just having no weaknesses. I have two bishops. You have problems to defend the pawn here. And this is where I think he realized that he's in trouble. Actually, here I was thinking maybe what he should have done. He should have tried to play rook e1. I was planning to play bishop f5. And it's actually quite interesting. Engine here gives some plus for white. Queen c2, and white is a lot better. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I was thinking some a4, but the engine says c5 here, knight e5. White takes over the game. I suppose I don't understand this position so well. So after rook e1, I have to be like pretty accurate. Not bishop f5. Ah, wait, yeah, a4. This was also an idea I saw. And after queen c2, I had to stop c5 and knight e5. Okay, this is what I'm going to remember. And now I play rook a5. Rook a5 with some rook lift. Maybe there's going to be a pawn sack. b4 takes, knight b3, rook a3, takes. Oh, wait, I'm protecting the pawn on b4. All right. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about a4 or bishop f5. I was not sure which is the right one. So he played this. He played this. And now he has difficulties to protect the pawn. Because knight b3 runs into bishop g4. Very annoying move. Super annoying. Knight f3 is incoming and f3 bishop f5. Ugh. The bishop is locked. So he went here. And yeah, I mean, I spent here some time trying to choose between knight e3 and bishop c5. I really want to go for dynamics here with bishop c5. And after knight b3, play some bishop g4. Like bishop g4, he can't play f3, he plays queen c2 and some bishop a7. I was not sure what is this, but I was afraid I'm gonna miss like one move. Or actually he can just take on a5 at any given moment, like take a pawn on b7, take the pawn on a5. So the question is, am I not risking a bit too much? So even here, bishop a7 could be a move. He could maybe give up the pawn on d4 and after bishop d4, maybe play, I don't know, queen c2 and rook d1. So I was not sure. No, knight e3 is possible, but you know, one thing, I think this is a trait of a professional player. You're always looking for the cleanest move that gives you the best attacking chances in the game. So of course, I mean, I see the pawn on d3 is under attack. So this is at least my minimal move. You know, when I find nothing else, I'm going to play knight e3, but I really want to activate my pieces first. Okay, fine. So I play knight e3. And I think if he's going to play knight e4, because the pawn is under attack, queen c2 feels just bad. I mean, bishop e5 or even bishop c5 is here. Yeah, so I'm hitting the knight. I'm about to take on d4 with the queen, have a monstrous bishop, and I just think there's definitely something here. Yeah, like takes, and some a4. It just feels very good. The knight is so awkward, and I'm completely dominating the game, like a check and here, and I don't know, bishop f5. Hit the queen, he takes it. I mean, he has two minor pieces for the rook, but I'm just completely dominating the board. So yeah, he found the correct move, knight f3. I can't take on b2 because he's trapping my knight. So I had to go back. But the more I spent time on this position, I realized I probably don't have a lot. And I had a feeling, I kind of felt it, that the correct move for him is going to be knight b5. So he gives up the pawn and then plays for some dynamics. So the point is, if I start to be very passive, like knight b6, he plays like knight d6 and c takes on d6 and knight e4. And I don't think he's like much worse. So I have an extra pawn, but my pieces are pretty awkward. So I will have to come up with some imagination. Hey, chess golfer. I saw from afar I can play c6. c6, rook c4, and c takes on b5. And after rook d4... Okay, this I didn't see. I didn't see rook a6. But also there's like, after knight b5, knight c4, rook c1, I can play bishop d7 as well. I'm pretty sure I would pick up these moves. They're not really that difficult. Very nice move, by the way, bishop d7. So he didn't find it. He played queen c2. I played c6. And now we just get to this position. Knight f3, queen f6. That I initially evaluated that I'm probably slightly better. But I was not really sure how much. And here I really wanted to keep more tension on the board with queen f6. So I want to play bishop g4 and exploit the pin here and basically force him to take on e5 himself. So that's what I wanted. But the trick here is that he's not going to take on e5. He's going to play knight e2. Knight e2, knight e4, c5. And suddenly things are not so clear. I mean, he has beautiful knights in the center. So that's why my move, knight f3, was actually an important move to keep my opponent's counterplay not possible. So he took with the knight. I play queen f6. I want to play bishop c5. I want to play bishop f5. He played here, which was a very big committal choice. I'm not sure if I would have done this because now this pawn is going to be a target. I went here to keep this pawn under attack. And I was pretty sure the only move for him to stay alive is knight goes here. 92, 94. And after bishop f5, 94, if I find nothing else, I can always just take it and collect the pawn. Probably it's not enough, but it's a pawn. So queen c5 is rook goes here. There's also this pawn under attack, and maybe there's some rook d7, bishop h7 checks. I'm not really sure. So I thought if I find nothing else, I go here. But probably I don't need to do that. I can like create the pin, queen g6, he goes here, and I just continue the pressure. It looks just very good for black. So it's, of course, you can't really blame white for not going here, because when you have bad choices, it's so difficult to remain objective. And yeah, I thought he's going to play b4 here. And after takes, bishop g4, I'm just completely dominating the board. I have two bishops. I have rook a3 incoming, rook e4 in some line. That's a weakness. That's a weakness. I have the dark square bishop that's ready to collect these pawns. So even though it feels that white is like doing all right, it's the bishops that make the difference. And the game actually finished pretty quickly here. He played knight e4, which I was pretty sure is the wrong move. The knight has no business here on d4. I mean, there's no good squares to go after this. And I just play a4. So here I knew I'm going to win this. So rook a5 is becoming a problem. Rook e5 is becoming a problem. And he can't protect the pawn. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So I have bishops here. They're really strong. They're standing on the starting squares, but they're really good. So I have the bishop on f8, which is stronger than the knight on d4. I have the bishop on c8, which is stronger than the bishop on g2. How about that? So he went here. I went bishop g4. I think he tried to sell me the pawn with rook e5, knight f3. Like takes and takes and takes and here. Which was probably playable. I have to confess, I did not see this. Oh, sorry. I did not see this move at all to protect the rook so that I can play bishop e6 or bishop f5 and I'm just winning. I didn't see this move at all, but I mean, this move is just very easy. Hit the rook, play rook e5 or rook d8, apply some pressure here. And yeah, now his position just collapses. Yeah, rook a5 was pretty funny. Yeah, now on top of his problems, he just hallucinated. He played b4 because what he thought, he said to me after the game, he thought that after a takes on b3, he plays queen takes on b4. Did you hear what I said? Queen takes on b4. Some freak hallucination. Obviously, there's no queen takes on b4 because the pawn is on b3. And if he now takes on b3, it's just bishop c5. It's just a pin. So that was a really strange turn of events. Yeah, so I just took it. Knight b3, the queen is under attack, and that's it. The game's lost. I played b2. Queen b2 is going to be here. Now I play bishop g6. I want to promote. Again, queen b2 is going to be here. And yeah, he's running out of ideas here. What to do? Maybe here he could have tried to go here. And I saw I have a very funny way to win the game. I can play b6. So I want to take on c5. So he can't take with a pawn. And after queen b6, I play rook b8 and I promote. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And yeah, so he played here, bishop g6. He went here, I take here. I just collected the pawn, he resigned. So it was a very smooth win. And after the game, I thought, oh, is this going to be yet another 99% accuracy game? So I checked an engine after the game. It said 96%. So that would average my accuracy for the weekend 98%. So I played the first two games on 99%, and now it was 98%. That was really nice. No mistakes, no inaccuracies for the entire weekend. So that was wow. Very, very cool.